Steve O'Malley, and when you stand up,
Yes.
and then can you introduce where you work? And then I got one special question, which is, what is your hobby?
Oh, okay. Steve O'Malley, I'm from the downtown club. I've got an announcement to make later. I used to work, I'm retired, retired county administrator, and now I spend a lot of my time with student volunteer things. My hobby is road biking.
Cool. Welcome. Perfect. And then we got Macy Fitzgerald.
That's me.
Hey, Macy.
I work with the High Chiropractic Center in Holman, Wisconsin. And my favorite hobby is weightlifting.
And then we got Brody. How's it going, Brody? Yeah, nice.
And Brody Cabot, work at the cross sign. Been busy lately doing the stick back downtown.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, doing the Taylor Grand Hotel in Minneapolis the last couple days, but my hobby is I go on road trips and fixing vehicles.
Excellent. Thank you for joining.
Is that it?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And visitors online joining us virtually.
We have Ashley Santalin and Laura Lee.
Welcome, everybody, both of you. And then September birthdays, or the anniversary. Anniversaries, Emma Booth, we had 1 year, Tyler 1 year, and Kristen 3 years. Birthdays, happy birthday, Lisa. She is home healing after having emergency surgery. So she did very well, but you know, she's still recovering. So we give her our best. And then Alicia, you just had a birthday 2 weeks ago. Where is she? She's not here? Okay. Well, congratulations to her family. Her sister had a baby yesterday morning. So the baby's home. And then we have one new member, brings up to 54 active, and we welcome Angie. Is she here? Okay, she was at Monday Meals last night. So we welcome her. I guess she will not be making any announcement. She was actually at the Oktoberfest training that was at 5 o'clock. Then she had to make her way home. So she's probably driving right now. Ida had a great time at Monday Meals last night, so she had a great time volunteering and got to speak with a lot of people. Oh, thank you. Oktoberfest bartending is this Friday, 4 to 8. We are full. We have 17 people. Mobile meals will be October 23rd to 29th. I know it's not October yet, but you can get that into your calendars. The sign-up sheet will go out as soon as I train Alicia how to do it. Torchlight parade in 2 days. Any announcement or anyone want to say something about that? Gorgeous float.
So the float is almost ready, thanks to my great helpers, but we plan to be down at the parade lineup. I can't remember what time we're supposed to go down there, Brandon, remember? I don't know, but we'll be down there by probably 6 o'clock for sure. We're float number 35. So I sent out the street will be on, but you probably can't park there. I guess it was kind of like walking back's gonna be a long ways, so you might want to think about where you park if you come to walk in the parade, because you have to walk back and it's quite crowded. Some people did ride back in the parade. Everybody's welcome to join. We have some costumes, thanks to Marissa. And it should be a fun time.
Awesome, thank you. More the merrier. And it should be pretty warm.
Yeah, no rain hopefully.
Yep, supposed to stop tomorrow. And let us welcome Steve O'Malley.
Thank you for letting me have a few minutes on your schedule with such an important guest going to be speaking to us. So I'll only take a few minutes. I know many of you in the club. I don't know everybody, but I'm from the Downtown Rotary Club of La Crosse, one of the 9 area clubs that have worked together and collaborate on so many things. And I'm here to announce a series of 3 Habitat for Humanity team build days. So there's a little slip on each of your tables. If you didn't get one, I can give you this. Basically, there are 3 days, October 7th, 20th, and 21st. 2 shifts from 8 to 11:30 or 11:30 to 3:30. Lunch is provided. The club doesn't have to raise any money. If you just want to come and help build and be a part of the camaraderie across all 9 area clubs, I'm making the rounds to, and I think I'm gonna hear you about 4 times. Good. The slip actually describes what's there. It's a home on the north side. The Yang family that we dedicated the site to during our summer bike ride, that independent of Rotary, I do a 500-mile or 500K bike ride multi-day every year. Been doing that for 26 years. I'm also on the Habitat board. This is a family of a mom and a dad and 4 kids living in a tiny little apartment, and they're finally going to be able to earn and buy their own house through the Habitat for Humanity program. I could go on and on about that, but what's most important is service above self. If you're interested in joining with fellow Rotarians, and I'm really counting on this club because you guys do so many things. So if you could sign up, there's a link actually on the sheet, and I don't know if Phil's gonna send this out again, but if you've got it in hand, it's the easiest way to do it. You can, if you've got a son or a daughter that want to come along, you don't have to be a Rotarian to join. 16 is the lowest age, so if you happen to have a son or a daughter that's interested in joining, it's a great way to bond. We're hoping that even some of our Rotaract friends, as well as exchange students, might actually come join us. That's happened before. This is the second time we've done this multi-club thing. We did it about 5 years ago. Again, Rory Works Foundation, the one that we all donate to and is all part of all of our clubs together, is kind enough to provide this grant that's letting us do this. So thanks for letting me take the time.
Thank you, David. Rachel.
Oh, I need a question. I'm sorry.
What kind of actual like visible path may I expect?
Well, right now, the site is just built, it's on the north side, of course, but it had to be brought out in the floodplain. So my guess is by then that the foundation will be done and we might be erecting walls. But I can't count on what that's gonna be. If you sign up for the 20th or 21st, we're more likely to be doing that. You don't need any special skills, no special tools, just the ability to have camaraderie and follow direction.
Yeah, they will teach you how to do everything and you'll be good to your skill set.
I can build that.
Better than me.
I can't. So that's not.
They took the hammer out of my hand last time.
And it's free, and it's a free lunch.
Yeah, they took the hammer away and gave me tape. Ida, fortunately, got a message. She can't be here. She's not feeling well. She's sick today. So I'll keep her in your thoughts as well. And then I have another announcement here. As we mentioned in the meeting notice that went out, name tags are being ordered. So if you need a name tag, email Ashley. And if you have a child that would like a name tag who comes to the meeting regularly, you can also order a name tag. And again, speak to Ashley about that. What's that? I'll leave a question. Jabron, come on, man. Anybody would like to say something about Mini Masters? I heard it was awesome.
It was.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there. And did we reach our goal? Anybody?
No, but the goal wasn't a goal, it was an audacious target.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
we were trying to raise $10,000 on our 10th anniversary, which would have been 40% higher than we ever raised before, and we didn't have it was a record. It was a record year, but no, we did not reach the audacious target of 10 grand.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the final numbers yet, but
I guess.
it was good times were had by all, plenty of money. Just for the guests in the room, the funds from that, I believe, go toward our youth camp.
Mhm.
So we're able to support those. So we're well above our needs and we're gonna be in great shape.
I think 111 people or something like that.
Yeah, and record numbers of sponsorship dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, Steph, give her a
Yes.
huge hug, because that woman does remarkable things. She has a pathetic co-chair that doesn't do squats. That's me. But she is remarkable.
She did a lot of hard work.
Great work.
Yeah, so thank you, Steph, that watched the recording. The person I mentioned, Ida, she is our exchange student from Denmark. And she was usually at the meeting. She was at a service event last night, and then she's not feeling well. So if you come back and you see her, please say hello. She's a junior at Onalaska High School. So it's great to have her here, and she is such a sweetheart. So very nice. Anything else for announcements? Yes, Dean.
Well, I worked at the dinner last night. I just want to reiterate what you already said about her foreign exchange student. She is one charming young lady, very intelligent, very personable. She's already missing her little sister. I mean, I felt so bad for her. I also met our new member from Holman, asked if she'd be here tonight, and she said she had some obligations where she had to be with her kids. So I gotta tell you, she's gonna be a dandy. She's a very, very nice person. She was very involved in the thing last night. I asked her, why are you here? Because I thought maybe she was the home host for the, no, she just was there because she's a new member of the club. And then my last one's a personal announcement. I have an apartment in Onalaska that's coming available. And I'm more interested in the quality of the tenant than I am in collecting a lot of rent. It's a lovely apartment, 2 bedroom, about 1,000 square foot unit. And I've had a lady in there for about 4 or 5 years, and now she's moving to Tennessee. So if you know anybody that's looking for an apartment, quality people, and be willing to go in for a long term, I'd be more than happy to visit with them. So I know that's a personal thing, and if I owe some money for that, no.
Well, doctor pay.
Mr. President, may I real quick?
Yes.
I'm good. And first of all, maybe I'll talk to you because Jackie and I are giving up our house to our oldest. We are looking for the second host
I was
family
just gonna say.
for Ida. Okay, we're looking for the second and third host family. Oftentimes, it is some of the easier things to do because now you've had a chance to meet this young lady and she is remarkable to be a point. So if you have some space in your heart for a young lady for about 3 months, I don't think you could get much better than Ida. And so if you have any interest in learning more about that, talk to Lisa, talk to Ashley, talk to Laura. I'm saying everybody who's not here right now. If you're desperate, talk to me, and we'll hook you up. But we are looking for our second and our third family.
So if you know somebody else who might be looking as well, they do not have to be a member of this club or of Rotary. So it'd be great.
Yeah, single or married doesn't mean married.
We're also, people are hoping, background checks, so they can hang out with Ida or have somebody else with them as well. And then she is fun to chat with, so she'd be great to take out to a restaurant or play tennis with, etc. Or skiing. Imagine that from Denmark. So, pretty bad. Yeah. Any other announcements?
Will you be sending out an email for the background checks again?
Yes. Yep. Okay, so our special guest this evening, member of Rotary Club in Madison, Dr. McGrath, is an educator and a community leader with more than 27 years of professional experience. This is still updated, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And currently the executive director of, I'm gonna put Wanakee. Oh, geez. Community Cares Coalition, and she has been a teacher, coach, administrator, college professor, and a nonprofit executive. Michelle is a published author and speaks nationally about her research on the urgency of youth leadership. So recently selected by Brava magazine as one of Madison's Women to Watch. So let us welcome Michelle. Oh, yes,
Or try it and see if it works.
this way.
Oh,
it worked for you.
Maybe I got the touch.
You just have to.
I just have to do it that way. Okay, awesome. All right, thank you. Thanks so much, Phil. It is just an honor to be here. As Phil said, I come to you as a proud Madison downtown Rotarian. I'm a longtime RILA chair in the district. A lot of my friends from RILA are here and on this out there as well. District trainer, Dean and I were just talking about that. And grateful district governor for 6250. I was a UW lacrosse undergrad, so I worked at the Freight House, coached at Aquinas, taught at Aquinas. I feel like I'm home when I'm here in lacrosse. I plan to eat and drink my way through lacrosse this week. So thank you so much for having me. I bring you the warmest of greetings from District 6250. This picture right here is from our president-elect training that we have every year. This was in Itasca. You can see right in the middle is President Gordon, Rotary International President Gordon, and then around him are assistant governors for the district, our committee chairs, as well as all of our presidents from the district. So a grateful heart is ours for all the work that you're doing here in your club, in our community, at the district level. So many great people doing so many things here. A little bit about our district. So first of all, if you came here for like the state of the district, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be giving you that, but I will just talk a little bit about just our district, especially for those that are new here in the group. So our district in 6250 spans from like the Eau Claire area and then east and down through Beloit. So we're really the whole half of the western half of the state. We have 55 clubs and about 2,400 members in our district. That's our zone for Rotary International. You'll see that corridor that goes from the Dakotas down all the way to Texas. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about hope. So when we went to, as district governor-elects, we go to the assembly, and this year it was in Orlando, and Gordon got on stage and announced, President Gordon got on stage and talked about the theme, and he charged us this year with really delivering a message of hope to Rotaries across the world. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but I'm going to first introduce myself a little bit more and talk about my family. So I think about hope. The only reason I can be here tonight is because I have such a supportive and amazing family back home. So this right here, my husband and I, Paul, in the middle, and then my daughter Grace is on your far right. Actually, she is a dental school student in Kentucky. I'm going on Friday down for white coat ceremony. I would have loved to stay for Oktoberfest, but I'll be going down there. Right next to her is my other daughter, Sarah. She goes to UW lacrosse. The dirndl that I bought for the Festmasters ball on Wednesday, she'll be wearing down at the Fest ground. So you might see that a second time. My son Fletcher on the far left, he is in aviation school at Dubuque. And just a quick note to everyone, if you get on a plane soon and hear welcome aboard, it's Captain Fletcher McGrath, exit immediately. Get off the plane. I don't know how they allow people that can't even tie their shoes to fly planes, instruct people. It's crazy. And then my son Jake, who is a senior in high school at Wanakee. And then the stunner of the bunch, Cody, our Labradoodle in front. So I share them, like I said, at the beginning, because they are by far my biggest accomplishment in life. I think sometimes that I feel like I just survived like 16 consecutive years being on the show Survivor. But really of the greatest stories. I'm going to share some of those today. And apparently Steve, right? He's going to be able to give this in 3 days at Madison. So you listen carefully. So create hope. So let's talk a little bit about why Gordon shared this message. So if you can see up there, these were the priorities that Gordon talked a lot about. So mental health being the top priority. He shared with all of us, and you may have seen some of his speeches, but he recently lost his brother to suicide unexpectedly. And so mental health was really a priority for him. A lot of other things, promoting peace, DEI, partnerships, storytelling. And if you look at our goals from a district, we have some of those same themes in our goals, and the things that we're doing. In fact, Liz, she's on we put together a mental health task force in our district to find ways that we can reach out and work with folks in our clubs, in our communities, to provide mental health awareness and education. So lots of things. But I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to home. So let's see if we could have this table right in the middle of your body, right? This table right here, and then Marissa, the two of you to stand up. You all can stand up. I promise I'm not going to do a lot of that because you're not going to have to dance or anything like that. So this group right here, this is how many people in the United States that we lost to suicide since I've been speaking tonight. If this table and this table could all stand up. This is how many people Googled the word depression in the last 5 minutes. You can sit down. So I like to bring that closer home, and sometimes it's easier when you see actually the numbers standing up, but I'm in, so Bill said the word right. I lead the One Key Community Cares Coalition in my community, and it's a DFC drug free community funded coalition. So we bring community members together around prevention and mental health. And this past year, we spent a lot of time in our high school, middle school, doing some data digging for what our students were experiencing. And we found out that 80% of our young women were facing anxiety, depression, suicide ideation, 60% of our young men. And those statistics are not unique to Wanakee. They're all over the country. They're in lacrosse, they're everywhere. And so for me, this topic really strikes a chord because I think it's so important. It's something that I'm so grateful that as a district we have as a priority. So when I thought about, all right, what type of message am I going to give? Because me talking about the statistics is not going to inspire you to create hope in your clubs and your communities. Instead, I wanted to do something around storytelling, which is number one, a priority for Rotary National, a priority of our district, and the personal side. I have one of my most distinguished storytellers here. I actually guilted him into coming tonight because I was saying that. So I worked a long time with Bill at RAH, and then Mike Desmond, who some of you might know, he was my cooperating teacher and we've been great friends. He's another one of my storytelling mentors. So I've tasked them to judge me after this, and Steve's going to be able to probably know too if you'll hear me before done. But I really wanted to just tell some stories and hopefully create hope with you all in that way. So when I thought about it, so I wrote a book a couple years back, and I talk a lot about 3 themes. And so those are the things I'm going to talk about tonight. The first is you got to show up. If you want to inspire and to create success, you have to show up. And I will say the 2.0 version is show up and shine, because if you're going to show up like these two, no one is going to get inspired, right? You're not going to create hope with that. So you have to show up. The second thing is surround yourself with really great people. When you think about getting in the arena and engaging, who are those people that sit at your table? And lastly, serve yourself and then serve others. I think a lot of times in Rotary we talk about service above self, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about doing both. Okay, and Jennifer Jones, once again, talking about the storytelling piece. So that's what we're going to start with. So in my book, I start with this. A good day is a good day, a good day. Oh, sorry. A good day is a good day, but a bad day is a good story. And I have a lot of those stories to tell, a suitcase full of them that really moved me forward. So let's talk about showing up. Here's Madison downtown, which for some of you that are new to the group, so Madison downtown currently is the 10th largest Rotary Club in the world. When I was president around 7 years ago, it was the 5th largest in the world at 525 members. But I'm going to tell you my story when I first started at downtown Madison. So I don't know how you all do it when you have new members come in, but when you go to the club, the first thing you have to do is go to a board meeting. So you go to this big room and there's a board table and all the important people are in the middle, and then all of the new members are around to watch and listen. And so I'm there for my first meeting, and this is going to date me, especially for some of these young people that are here. They started talking about this thing called the Twitter. Like, we got to figure this out. Like, everybody's tweeting. How do we do this? All the social medias. And so I, at the time, was working in youth leadership development. And so we were doing all of that. So I raised my hand, and you could tell that the people around the table were like, what is she doing? People don't raise their hand at this meeting. And I'm like, well, I could help with that. Like I do that sort of thing in my business. And they're like, oh, great. Well, what should we do? And I'm like, well, why don't you gather around me? We're going to take a selfie. And they're like, what are we going to do? So sure enough, they awkwardly moved around me, and there it is, our first selfie. So we got that, we tweeted it out. I also put it on my social media. So those are all in the president line, and I called it 5 presidents and a peon, because that was me in the middle, the new gal. But 7 years later, from that exact picture, I was asked to lead that club. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about showing up. So when you are president, and it might be here as well, but you're asked to go to the Rotary National conference, and that year was in Seoul, South Korea. So I got on the plane, got there, and I had a friend that was a principal in one of the international schools. And he's like, Michelle, coming to visit me, you're gonna walk like 8 blocks down the street, go to the train station in Seoul, get on a train, come to Jeongjak, and I'll see you in about 45 minutes. I'm like, awesome, I'll see you soon. So like, how hard could that be, right? I mean, I've maneuvered the train in Chicago and in New York. So I go down to the train station. Unbelievable. Has anyone been in Seoul to the train station? Okay. So it's like 13 stories tall. I mean, it's like crazy. All sorts of course, language that I don't recognize. No pictures to help me. I'm a hot mess. And so much of a hot mess that a young man came up to me, he's like, you look like you're struggling. Could I help you? I'm like, what? Give it away. Like I was like crying, fetal position. So he helps me and I get on the train, get to my friends, maneuver through all the meat markets and had a decently fine day. And I wish that that was the story, but it's not. So I get back to the hotel and there he was, District Governor Dean Ryerson. Now, he doesn't look mean or like he's a bad guy, right? But to me, he was Superintendent Dean Ryerson. He was the superintendent that hired me for my first job. And I don't care how old you are, if you're 50 or 15, when the superintendent or the principal says, Ms. McGrath, can I have a word with you? You get goosebumpy. You're like, oh boy, what does he need? So I go over to Dean and he's like, hey, you know, what did you do today? Tell me about your day. And this is where I really learned about the 4-way test. Because I didn't tell him the truth. I was like, maneuvered around the city. This was awesome, this, that, and the other thing. And then he said the 2 words that I loved to hear when I was 21, but not the words I wanted to hear that day. And that was, you're hired. And I'm like, you're hired for what? He goes, you're gonna be our tour guide tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 9 a.m. And I'm bringing a bunch of DGs with me. I'm like, oh my gosh. So needless to say, I was scared out of my mind, but we went on to have a wonderful day. And I think about that moment, or I think about the moment when I took the selfie. And so often as Rotarians, we show up in really big ways, right? We show up eradicating polio. I think about the mobile clinic that you all had such a big part in last year. We do all these incredible things, but sometimes we show up in just small ways, right? It's just taking that selfie to tell the story of Rotary, or going into Seoul and trying to help out your fellow Rotarians to maneuver through the city when it's a scary place. So hope lives there, showing up for yourself and showing up for others. All right, surrounding yourself with good people. So a couple of years back, about 5 years now, I was asked to speak on the same stage as Brene Brown. So if you think being scared to come speak to you was hard for me, oh my gosh, I was crazy on that day. But after we all got done speaking, she met with some of my speaker friends and I afterwards. And if you don't know, Brene Brown, she's had lots of best-selling novels and Netflix and all the TED Talks, and she talks a lot about getting into the arena. And so that day she talked to our group, because it was a lot of my speaker friends. She's like, you know, it's one thing to get into the arena, but choose who's in the arena with you. Like, who are you getting in that arena with? And I say, I choose Rotarians all day, every day. Like we all are gritty and fearless and genuine and want to do great things. This was us last year. I mean, I made Karen Aver throw on a tutu to raise money for polio. I think we raised about $175,000 that day for polio. Here's our RILA staff. Some of those folks might look familiar, but I want to be with the people that put on their 80s costume and dance the night away with all the youth in our district. Were you in there? I have so many fun Bill Pritchard stories. I could talk to you all day about that. So, Operation Pollination, I'm going to be here on Thursday. So that's another big initiative coming out of this district and out of La Crosse, looking at how we can just make our planet a better place. So I'm going to tell you a quick RILA story. So some of you that you're very active in RILA. I don't have to talk probably a lot about RILA, but For those of you that don't know RILA, it's our camp that we have for sophomores, juniors in high school. We typically get around, when it's not the pandemic, about 150 students from around the district. When those students come to RILA, which is up in Woods and the Dells, we put them in groups of about 15 kids that they don't know, and we put them with counselors and Rotarians. And they have the time of their lives, right? They are doing leadership games, they're, eating and dancing and having campfires. It's awesome. So about 9 years back now, I get a call from a guidance or school counselor, and they wanted to talk to me about a student they wanted to send to RILA. And they said, I just don't know. He's has some challenges. And so we talked through it, and I'm like, no, this is the place for him. He is gonna love it. So this student comes to RILA and has the time of his life. He's out there, getting in with the teams, having just the time of his life, dancing, doing all the things that we do at RILA. So after you've gone to RILA, you have the chance to become a counselor the next year. So he applies to be a counselor, and we choose him to be a counselor. He comes back the next year and once again has an incredible experience. That I'm leading, right? He's one of the counselors. So at the end of RILA on Sunday, everyone's crying because they're having an awful time. They just don't want to leave. They're giving their embraces, and he comes up to me and he's like, Flava. So they call me Flava the Lifesaver at RILA. But he's like, I heard that you do these summer camps like for your real job. I go, I do. He's like, do you ever hire counselors? I go, yeah. He goes, can I apply? I'm like, absolutely. And this is what he goes on to say. He's like, because he would have been a junior that year. He's like, because tomorrow I'm going to go back to my high school and I don't have any friends. Nobody talks to me. Nobody sits at lunch with me. Never been to a school dance. Even if I did go, no one would ask me to dance. But here I found my people, found my joy. I found the people that are going to make me be a better person. And I found them because of Rotary, because of RILA. Here is Will. This is his 8th year at RILA. He is now a Rotarian in our district and doing incredible things. So hope lives there. Hope lives in finding those people, being surrounded with the people that you have here. I'm just saying, you're already killing it because you showed up tonight and you surrounded yourself with great people. So you already have the top, these two. All right, serve yourself and others. Who can tell me what are the top 2 reasons people stay in Rotary?
Connections.
Connections, yep, that's one. Service. You're gifted and talented, this whole group. Yeah. Service and connections. So if you look at the research right now it's coming out of Yale, Ohio State, lots of places, but the things that actually combat any sort of depression, anxiety, mental health challenges, the top 2 things are service and connection. Exactly what we're doing as Rotarians. So that's why we need to keep bringing more people in, right? Like this, we have the secret sauce. So it's really important that we continue to do that. So serving all the things that we do in our district, I highlighted a couple of the things that we're doing. I was just in Croatia. I just got back last week on the Rotary Friendship Exchange, and out of Beloit, we've had lots of dollars that went into Croatia to work with a STEM project in their school. So I had a chance to go to their schools, see what those dollars work. It was an amazing experience. And I'd say, go on one of those if you ever have a chance. Okay, so I'm going to close with two things, 2 stories. I don't know about you all. It looks like some of you have children, but I have the 4 that I talked about. And there's a couple of my children that are in it for the fame, and there's a couple of children that are in it for the feel good. These are my 2 boys that are in it for the fame, always. So this story in about, I don't know, probably now 7 years ago, I often would go with my children and say, hey, I'm going to a service project. Do you want to come join mom, whatever. So that day I brought it out to the kids. Who wants to go with mom to pack meals downtown? And of course, busy, got stuff to do, mom. Video games are calling my name. And then I'm like, oh, that's too bad, because we're gonna be doing it with JJ Watt. Oh my goodness, I've never seen two boys throw on their shoes and up into my car, right? They're like, oh, not busy anymore. So about, I don't know, a little bit after this happened, I'm up at my island and I was president of downtown that time, and I'm making dinner, and Fletcher runs up the stairs and he's like, Mom, you're on ESPN. You and the Rotors are on ESPN. So I run downstairs and sure enough, on ESPN. Now, fun fact that day, that at Rotary, we had Peter Fagan, who was the president of the Milwaukee Bucks or owner, whatever. Anyway, he happened to say that Milwaukee was the most racist community he's ever been in. So it made ESPN, and there we were on ESPN. So I will always tell my son that a lot of my children in our family are pretty decent athletes, but their mom is the only one that's made it to ESPN. I would say Rotary for the win. So last story about creating hope will be my daughter. So I mentioned that she was in Kentucky going to dental school. So last year we were in that phase where you're going out to all the interviews. And so another family fact, like if I ever came up to a family dinner and started asking my children like, oh, tell me the worst thing they ever did and what did you learn from that? Or where do you want to be in 10 years, Fletcher? They'd roll their eyes and say, seriously, Mom? I'm not. So anyway, we're at these interviews and we're getting, all the things ready. And Grace is like, can you help me with the interview? My mentor gave me some questions that they might ask. So I don't know why in my head I thought it was going to be questions like, how do you, drill a tooth or something? But she hands me the questions and it was like the heavens opened up. It was like every question I've ever wanted to ask my children. I'm like, keep it together, Mom, keep it together. So I'm asking all the questions and it's great. And I get to the question where do you want to be in 10 years? So Grace goes on to say this. She said, I want to own my own practice. I want to have a family and I want to serve. She continues with this. She's like, I did all the things. I was the RAH counselor. I worked at More Smiles and I did all of those things to just get me to this interview. I put those things on my resume to get me here. But as I did those things, as I saw my mom and all the joy it's brought her as an adult to serve, I just know that that's a legacy that I want to continue. That's why we do Rotary, right? So, my quote. I thought since it's Oktoberfest, I had a different quote on here, but I'm like, all right, we're here, it's Oktoberfest, so life is wonderful. You just need to see it through the right glasses, right? So the three things I want to leave you with is, show up for yourself, show up for others, because hope lives there. Surround yourself with the right people. That's where you're going to find your joy, and that you're sharing it with the most amazing people in Rotary. And thirdly is serve yourself and serve others. We have so many great resources coming out for mental health that I want you to take advantage of. Lots of great things going on in our district. And with that, a couple quick announcements before I ask for questions. But we have two new folks working with us at the districts. We have Meg Zwan as our administrative consultant and Hawkins Ash out of La Crosse that we're working with on the financial piece. So if you have any questions, they're great resources, or if you need to get contact with them, you can reach out to me as well. Tricon, I put save the dates on your tables. I know it was here last year and it was amazing. You knocked it out of the park. We're going to try to do the same in Green Bay, so please make sure to attend. One of the things I'm really excited about, I recently did some work with the Green Bay Packers, and we are now having the lead medical doc in the mental health space for the Green Bay Packers. He's going to be one of our keynote speakers, so we're really excited to have him. And it's during the draft, so he said he's going to have lots of really great intel. Those are our mental health things that we have going on, and I think that's it. So thank you. Thanks for everything you're doing here in your club and community. And I guess I can take questions if anyone has any questions.
you were interviewing your daughter, did you ask her, throw in any questions that you wanted to ask?
Oh, I didn't, but there were so many, like, there were like 5 pages, I couldn't even choose, like, but I was like, we just stay here all night. So, like,
Why does Madison have one of the highest hospitals?
one of the highest,
Population, like membership.
right, well, and I think, so from when it started in infancy, a lot of business was downtown Madison, so a lot of folks, that's just where they work. So it just makes sense to be right there and they just walk from their offices and that's how it got to be so big. And we have lots of other clubs in Madison. Yeah. And I think what happens is it has then that reputation that there's a lot of people, a lot of different groups represented, and some people might want to join that. Yeah.
Have you gotten any feedback from different clubs in the community about the focus of mental health and other focuses for the year for Rotary?
Not necessarily. I know, so next week, October 5th, so NAMI, so we partnered with NAMI this year, and so they're gonna be doing a webinar for all of our clubs on resources and speakers in all the areas, because there's NAMI chapters all over the state. So they're gonna be giving us some of those resources. So I'm hopeful, I mean, there's people that are very interested in starting to get speakers into their clubs around mental health. But we're hoping that kind of moves that needle forward. And I guess, if there's things that you're doing or maybe you are doing currently or that you have set to do, it'd be great to hear about that as well. Any other? Okay, well, thank you. This has been fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for your inspiring talk. Inspired me, so thank you. Any other questions before we end for the evening?
May I?
Yeah. Sorry.
Our club has a really long tradition of being a big sponsor and supporter of RAH. Okay, matter of fact, we had a tradition here for years that we've gotten away from. I'd love to start it again, but I don't think it's legal. We would actually not tell somebody, we'd ask them to come with us for a getaway weekend and not tell them why they were going. So Matt, Bosco, Laura's on the call, we would not tell them, and they'd go, well, what? We'd say, oh, this is great, and they would come and have the time of their lives. We did that like, Marissa, how many times did we do that? 3, 4 times? But no, every year they're looking for, most of the time, they're looking for Rotarians to be involved. And if you want to go to an event where you're going to walk away feeling like you didn't give enough because of how much you got, RAH is it. You go there and you are just surrounded by these remarkable young people that want to change the world, and you are there to help and work with that. You don't need to know squat if you're afraid of being a counselor person. The Rotarian is there to be that person that makes sure that Rotary is, brought into the conversation. She has professional counselors that take care of the stuff there. You're just along to be the good support you are. It normally happens.
It's May 18th and 19th.
Sometime around Mother's Day, is that?
Weekend after Mother's Day.
Yeah, normally gets on that Mother's Day time. If you have an interest in doing that, you'll watch I'm sure Rob will put it in the newsletter. I really encourage. We got away from it a little bit in this club. I'd love to see us get back involved in that and really get back involved in RAH. And you get a chance to work with Flava. She's a remarkable person. And one of the greatest gifts, and Dean, I think you'd agree with me, of being a district governor is that for about 4 to 5 years, you are part of the interviews of selecting the next governors that come behind you. And so talk about a relatively easy choice. When I was on that committee, when someone like Michelle comes through with everything that she's done with RAH and in Madison and different places, talk about the no-brainer of all time of choosing a great district governor. So on behalf of the club, thank you so much for coming. It's great to see you. And I think it's really wonderful how she's kind of in lacrosse the entire week. She'll be at the Best Master Ball. She bought a Durham. I'm not going to put my lederhosen on, but she's wearing a Durham. I think it's pretty cool. So thank you very much for coming, Michelle. Yeah.
I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in.
doing what I do with my vocation, I hear all the time from people in the community, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. How can I do this? How can I do that? And sometimes it's easy to take for granted that we have such amazing people here that we sit around all the time. And then it's easy also, we come here for service, but it's also a place that we can also lean on each other for support and help, especially if, we're talking about mental illness, et cetera. So please take advantage of that. This is a huge resource that most people in this country, in this world, don't have. So with that, thank you all for being here tonight, and let us five-way test. All the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair, law, concern? Will it be good, better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun? Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.